Good evening, folks. Welcome back for another Fed Dead Redemption. We're on episode 9, Bobby, which I'm not sure if that feels like too few or too many. What do you think? Which side of that are you on?
It kind of feels like too few. Feels like I've been doing this for quite some time, but I guess that makes sense with the weeks. And yeah,
We did do Fed Red Hot for a while,
it's true.
which whether that was proven true or not, I don't know. I think this title is more kind of accurate, even when it's good, because redemption, right, Bobby? This
Exactly.
program, if there's one thing the Late Night Grin is about, it's redemption. Across the board. We have much to talk about, including the big news story of the day, one that Bobby and I, if there's one thing we'll do, is cover some Fiend-esque faults. Bobby, before we get into all of the stories of today and WWE, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. I had a power surge here like 15 minutes ago, which it's like sunny and clear out, not raining. So I don't know what's going on there. You might lose me at some point, and you might have to do this on your own. But hopefully, we're good now. Other than that, though, pretty good. A lot of stuff on TV tonight. Better Call Saul's back. Raw, obviously, the NBA playoffs. Just loaded night, man.
Indeed. Bob, you know when you said power surge?
Mm-hmm.
You know what that made everyone in the chat think about, right?
What's that?
Oh, you don't know. So NWA, our favorite promotion around here,
Mm-hmm.
they do like special episodes. Their TV show's called Power.
Yep.
They do they do special ones called Power Surge, and that's like to indicate like this is a big episode of Power Surge. But this is really key. The R's, they still use 3 R's.
Okay.
So you said all those things that are on TV. Could you instead watch Power Surge from the latest one, or maybe the original one? I don't know. What do you think?
I'm probably not going to do that, but maybe.
Halloween Kills.
I have to watch the Batman this week. Finally.
Yeah, the Batman. I struggle to call it that. I know that's the name, but I have my limits. I was gonna go see that. But, how long is it? My brother's like 3 hours. I was like, what?
Yeah, me too. Like, it's 3 hours. It'll be on HBO Max in like 6 weeks. Well, we'll just wait. It's fine.
Yeah, some things in the world we miss. All right. Anyway, we are gonna get into it all. Bob has been just on the phones all evening, haven't you, Bob? Just talking it through, pondering different angles to take on this. He has a notepad in front of him. I don't want to expose the business, but that's the truth. There is much to discuss. Firstly, though, Deuce has a good question. How many people have you done right on the concrete since Friday?
Yeah, I didn't even realize that I said that until like yesterday. Seems bad, but you know what? We got 3.5 months. We'll keep fleshing that out.
Are you saying it's probably not ideal that you threaten to kill another member of the Late Night Grin? Is that what you're saying here?
No, I don't care about that. I just do you on the concrete is just not the most ideal phrasing.
A little bit graphic.
Yeah.
Crass even? Maybe crass. All right. Folks, the big story of today, coming from former peer of ours, right, Bob? Bob was also on Fightful, allegedly. Sean Ross Sapp got the scoop on the famed Lexi All Caps, the Fiend-esque, 5 Feet of Fury, all that good stuff, Alexa Bliss, in the news with a story that mostly confirmed what you and I, as not complete fucking idiots, had guessed. But, and I want to be very clear about what I just said, Sean had to report it because some fucking idiots have continued with their take even after this report. I am told that Alexa was married at some point in the last month, Bob, so all of this is not true. But, that's just my read was I just paid attention to what she said herself.
Yeah.
But I'm an outlaw like that. So the story's out there anyway. There's all this kind of frustration, and it's a big story because other than you and I, no one else cared about this until today. Your immediate reaction, and we'll get into some of the pieces of this, because you and I are on the front line when it comes to covering this story. So go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, I busted out the Twisted Bliss shirt today.
Yeah.
I
didn't even notice that.
Yeah, man. I guess my immediate reaction was I was just kind of bummed about it. Like, oh, you guys can't find anything for her. That kind of sucks. And, good for her for, like, complaining about it. That's what you should do in that situation, I think. But I don't know, man. Like, thinking about it more, I got more upset because we've talked about, like, even leading into WrestleMania, they don't do non-title women's programs anymore. And just more and more often that's shining through is a really bad idea for them to not do that. Because, like, Bayley missed WrestleMania last year. Alexis missed WrestleMania. Just, you're not getting the most out of your roster.
Yeah, it sure feels that day. We'll get analytical on that front in a second here. I will say though, as someone that very much expected this story because it seemed obvious from the outside looking in, and before I go any further, let me reiterate once more that Sean was right to do the story because people had missed it completely. But I thought it was pretty obvious from our nerdy perspective. You and I kind of haven't, kind of following it. The one thing I will say is, and I mean this, and this may come across weird, but I mean it in the most sincere way possible. Couldn't pop me more how she's handled this. Her tweeting with Sean was awesome, and people thinking she was dunking on him completely misunderstood what she was projecting with that. Listen, I said this on Patreon, I'm going to say it again here. People are not used to WWE superstars that don't actually have anything to lose. They're a rare thing now because they've cut so many people that had options elsewhere that they're just left with this core, right? Look, man, she's off TV. What are they going to do? Bury her? Fire her? It's like, it's easy. She's going to make money regardless. She's fine. She's more than popular enough to do stuff elsewhere in and out of wrestling. So her handling of it, I think, is hilarious. I love that she actively voiced her frustration to Vince. Too many cowards don't do that now. And the Sean thing was levels. I mean, I've never seen... Bob, am I like just missing an obvious example? When have we ever seen a Fed wrestler as actively playful with Sean on Twitter as she was today?
No, I don't think so. It was crazy. Like, and again, like everyone missing the point was just like, it's very clear what she's doing. Like,
She's basically telling her fans that, like, I have no clue. So let's just watch this happen together, right? Let's figure this out together. Big respect. I'm for that. Now, let's get to the core point where you made perfectly, and we'll kind of elaborate on it a little bit. Whether you like Alexa Bliss or not, whether you like Bayley or not last year, there is clearly a systematic issue here that is wildly outdated considering how popular this division has become and the women within it are. The lack of non-title programs. It's just got to change, right, Bob? I hate to oversimplify the topic, but this is just something that you and I have been talking about for the longest, but it's been a problem for years. Is it like stubbornness to not, or is it just a lack of, are they misunderstanding how popular these women are?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about it with someone over the weekend before this all came out, and the way they put it is, they've just never had this many like talented, capable women at the same time. They just still don't know how to do it all, I guess, and that's a little benefit of the doubt on WWE's part. Like, but I don't think, like, you look at how they book the women's division as a whole, it's a lot better than the men's division in terms of booking. Like, they make it all feel more important. So it's just, I do think that comes into play where, like, they haven't had this much star power in the division maybe ever, and they're struggling to deal with that. But at some point, you got to figure it out. Just put, two people who aren't doing anything. They don't need to be in the tag title hunt. They don't need to be in the main title hunt. You could still have a feud just as you can for the men.
Yeah, look, and this quickly lock in on that because I think this is important, actually. I'm a pretty big fan of Alexa Bliss. We both are. I don't think Alexa should be the women's champion.
No.
I think it's pretty obvious that at this point, Alexa's role is doing exactly what we're just talking about. Like, her role is she can help the other women by allowing for non-title programs that people care about, If I'm booking the division, I'm aware the division needs to move on. Like, Bianca's just the start. You need to get a Rhea Ripley in that top tier where she's, on her way, a Liv Morgan, whoever it may be. I don't, we can talk about the names all day long. There's some NXT names that are still waiting to come up. I don't think that's Alexa's best usage at this point. I think Alexa's best usage at this point is being on the TV show, someone that people like. This all or nothing stuff isn't good for anyone. So, I think you're absolutely correct. You've nailed it. I will say that I think the old guard, from a front office perspective, is a problem because I think they struggle, especially to see the value in a non-title women's program. I think some of those older guys, they especially are not used to this kind of division. It's a weird deal. I don't know. I will ask though, Bob, before we move on, gut feeling, will we see Alexa Bliss back on WWE TV?
Ultimately, yeah, I think we will. Like, I think they'll figure it out, even if they do just go back to the stuff that she's been doing. Like, because that is popular. It's over. It moves merch. They care about that sort of stuff. But like, I don't know that she wants to keep doing that. But yeah, I think ultimately they will figure something out where they realize that she's an asset and make it work.
To be totally transparent, it feels to me like the kind of situation where they're either going to book themselves in a hole and suddenly be like, oh, yeah, that'd be a good idea. Let's bring her back, which they do a lot with a lot of different talent. They'll be in a pinch at some point if they wait long enough. I'm not sure you'll see Alex back on TV. This is not a report. This is not scooping. It's just Bob knows I've been pretty firm on this stance for a while. I think there's a lot of weird stuff that's gone on there. And I think that relationship may have been rocky on one side for longer than we've realized. Let me stress again, not scooping, not reporting. I just think there were certain signs last summer. And, just to very briefly touch on it, if I was trying to get a professional wrestler under, I would have had her work Eva Marie in a stadium. In a feud where at one point she sold, but the doll didn't. I then would have booked her in her hometown, never announced her from her hometown, and done that finish with that post match. I'm just saying, I think a lot of this stuff was handing a wrestler a loaded gun, and she got it over. So I think that's, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully she's back soon. I think we both would like to enjoy WWE as much as we possibly can. She'd be a part of that. So nonetheless, let's move forward. Bobby, how would you say last week's WWE TV went overall, grand scheme of things?
It wasn't bad. I thought Raw was actually pretty good. I was mad at first because they changed pretty much everything that we spent time talking about, but they ended up with a pretty good show. I think NXT, there's obviously the one big thing that we'll get into that I'm fine with, that the reaction to was kind of weird. And then, SmackDown, I kind of have seen bits and pieces because we were, doing the show during that. But I think the Arcade Bro and Usos stuff is very good. Like, they're actually doing a traditional tag feud, which the Usos haven't been in for quite some time.
Yeah, I actually got to watch Raw and NXT last week. I must admit, my memory is foggy because for those of you that watched some of my content last week, I was not in the best of health. But I had it on. I had a couple of weird moments where I was imagining stuff that didn't happen. But I have the results in front of me. We can talk about it. Veer, he finally arrived in terms of an in-ring perspective. He was supposed to wrestle Ray. He instead wrestled Dom. How did Veer look in his 2-minute in-ring debut, in your view, Bobby?
Yeah, that was good. We were both excited for Veer against Ray, but like having him beat Dom like that and then doing Ray at Backlash isn't the worst idea.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think Veer's going to be good. I don't think he's ever going to be champion, but like that's not the bar everyone needs to clear necessarily.
I think there's some promising signs of him. I agree. I think there's stuff to like about him. The ceiling, as you kind of alluded to, is what it is. But I agree. Where are we at on the edge spookiness? I saw it this week kind of confirm where I was at before. I don't know if I need this stuff, Bob.
Yeah, I don't really care for it. I'm willing to see where it goes, I guess, but like, because I do like Edge still. I like Damian Priest. Like, I hope they can make it work, but it's not the style that's for me.
It was strange the handling with the match with AJ, right? I mean, they got a lot of time, which felt counterproductive in itself. They did the finish. It was strange. I really wish we could get AJ out of this, but I think this is going to last for some time. Bob, what's your read on timeline here in terms of when this will come to an end?
Yeah, I imagine like they're going to keep it going for a bit. I don't know that they're going to. I mean, it's going to get through Backlash, probably get through Hell in a Cell, and then maybe like AJ finally gets away and he's in the Money in the Bank match or something.
Yeah.
But like probably at least 2 months or so.
Yeah, well, we'll see. This was interesting, Bob. Before we even get into the quality of it, what did you think about the tactic they used of Cody will be in the ring at 9 p.m.? What did you think of that?
I like it. I never followed up to see if it, kept the viewers or whatever. But, Cody's clearly a draw for them. They are aware of that. And, you might as well try it. Tell people, when to tune back in. Because, I mean, listen, they know the ratings are what they are. They know people tune out throughout the course of the show. So to give them that incentive to come back, like, I guess you could say that it's, cheap or whatever, padding the rating. But the network doesn't care about that. They just care about the number.
Was you surprised they did it at 9 and not 10 or like a later time? Because it was like, I just was surprised they didn't use that tactic for something that was like deeper in the show. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. But, at 10, people are kind of ready to go to bed and stuff. And, it can be tough.
I'll say this, politically, it did him a favor going 9, not 10, because there could have been some narratives. Okay, let's break it down piece by piece now. You had the Miz TV segment that kicked the show off, and then the match itself. Bob, where was you at first on the segment? With the, I think the thing that got the most headlines was the kind of wrestling terminology, little bickering they had in the middle there. What did you think of it?
I thought it was fun. Like, I was excited for the match as it was. So, like, to start with that. And Cody doing his full entrance twice was great. Gotta love that. It's good stuff, man. Like, I don't know. I assume he's going to be on the show tonight. I haven't looked at a preview. But I don't know if the Miz thing's going to continue. I don't think it's going to go through Backlash. He's going to face Seth again at Backlash, I imagine. But yeah, they've handled Cody very well so far. They've handled him like they should.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think of the? I know we have fun with this stuff, but like, I actually think it's genuinely a good idea. The thing they did with him using the the WWE terminology, Miz using it is like. What do you think of framing Cody as kind of an outlier in that regard? Even though we all agree he's actually the very idyllic WWE superstar, he will always represent something different. How do you feel about them using that here within the program?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I like it a lot. Like, if he's the only guy that's going to be able to do this stuff, because he's technically an outsider or whatever, for lack of a better term, like, go for it. It makes it different. It makes him different, and that's what we've been looking for, just kind of from the show in general, but definitely for a main eventer.
Absolutely. As for the match itself, I think it was about what you exactly expected it to be. It was a pretty good 12-minute match. I think was your exact words. Any surprises, anything that stood out beyond, that was about what I thought Cody Rhodes versus The Miz would look like on WWF Monday Night Raw.
No, I was fine with it.
Yeah, it was a nice match. The one thing that was interesting was and it wasn't particularly loud, but there was some Cody sucks chants in there, right? Some underneath the kind of back and forth. Do you think that's something that will be a trend at all, or are WWE crowds different enough that he'll get cheered as a pure babyface?
Yeah, I think he'll get cheered. I think that's just kind of a 1 week thing.
It'd be interesting though, right? Because there's definitely a lot of heel in Cody's presentation. Like, a lot. Whether he knows that or not, I don't know. I've never been able to figure out how self-aware he is. I was told he was very self-aware many times. I've changed my mind on it a lot. I genuinely don't know. But it was interesting. I thought the match was pretty good. Cody does feel like the biggest star on the show. Do you think, Bob, it's helping Cody some, almost, that there's no world title on this show? I know that sounds weird, but, like, he kind of has to be the centerpiece of the show, right? Like, Bobby Lashley's shooting with Omos, and there isn't really a world champion on the show. What do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, both the USFL games were on NBC properties that I watched this week. He was featured kind of in the ad reads for both of them, so they're clearly kind of getting all in on him. I've seen some people start to think that he's going to be the one to beat Roman. I also think that.
Wow.
Which is crazy. I mean, but
nuts.
I don't blame them, he's clearly a draw for them, and he's engaged and he's on board, so you might as well go with it.
It's just a fascinating moment in time, right, where he kind of feels like the favorite. Like, I don't believe it. It's one of those things I believe when I see, but I don't know. It certainly feels possible. Okay, on the women's division side of things, Naomi and Liv wrestled in place of what was expected to be the women's tag title deal. Obviously, things changed. Plans changed, Bobby, for reasons that you were very aware of and text me updates on all week. What did you think of what Naomi and Liv did with their short amount of time? Where are you at on this women's title picture as we are supposed to be 90 minutes away from the title match? Where are you at?
Yeah, I thought their match was fine. I thought Liv and Sasha from SmackDown the week before was a little bit better, but I think they got a little more time too. I'm excited for the tag title match. I hope it happens tonight. I hope everyone's good. I hope they get some time because, when they announced that match at WrestleMania, I said, have one of those two teams win, and then that's your match at Backlash. And they're running it tonight. They might run it at Backlash as well. But, I'm excited for it because I think those are, the tag division is what it is, but those are clearly the two best teams and just four really good workers.
What do you think of, how much Rhea Ripley do you think we're getting tonight? Are we going to get the big angle with Rhea and the Edge, or are we just going to get her losing, getting mad at Liv here tonight?
Yeah. Again, that kind of depends how much they do want to further push this, because it feels like they're enjoying kind of being able to have Rhea and Liv on both shows. So they might draw it out a little bit more. So yeah, maybe you have them lose again and argue, or you even do a title switch real quick and then have Sasha and Naomi win them back at Backlash and do the turn there. I mean, ultimately, people are going to be fine with that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Speaking of the women's division, Bianca Belair was an actress. She beat Queen Zelina, and they set up Sonya Deville as her next program. Firstly, before we get into it, is this Backlash or is this not got an official timeline yet?
I would imagine it's going to be Backlash.
Okay, what do you think of this as a choice? What did you think of the segment? What did you think of the name drop of the aforementioned all caps killer? Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I kind of realized that it was going to be Sonya when she was talking about it backstage a little bit before Naomi's match, or Bianca's match. She feuded with Naomi before with Bianca. And listen, I think the plan is it's probably going to be a stopgap, and then Becky's going to get one more chance at Hell in a Cell, and then they'll go on with, whatever they want to do for the summer, which is probably going to be Rhea. But I don't have a problem with it. Like, I don't know if she hasn't had an actual match in quite some time. She had the tag match, obviously, and she's been in some stuff, but it's like,
yeah,
I get people being disappointed that it's not Bayley or Asuka, but also, again, just as like a stopgap, 3 or 4 weeks, it's not the worst idea.
When do you think we're getting, like, we kind of had this extensive conversation after Mania about those big three kind of sleeping giants in the women's division. Alexa, we got an update of sorts today, but not on really current more the last couple of months. And then obviously Asuka and Bayley, like the perception was they were both ready to go. I don't know if that's the case, right? But that was the perception. Yeah. Do you have any idea on, like, not even from a scooping perspective, just like where you would put them, where they're going to put them? Like, what's happening on that front?
No, because it almost feels like, you save one for Money in the Bank, but that's another 3 months or so. So it's like 2.5 months, so you don't want to do that. It's hard because neither one can really come back and win the title, which I think everyone would want to see. And, I don't think they're going to go into Bayley and Bianca again. So that's been a bit of an issue. Maybe one goes to SmackDown after we get a resolution to the Ronda and Charlotte stuff, because I don't know what happens next there. And then, the other comes to Raw. And that's, again, where a non-title feud would really come in handy, because, like Bayley could come back and face, a babyface on Raw. Yeah.
You could face Becky as a babyface herself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you totally. The other thing too is Ronda's winning at Backlash, right?
I think so.
It's like sending a woman who's been off for a year after Ronda Rousey is like,
yeah.
I mean, you can do it, but I wouldn't. Like, I just wouldn't do that. But I know they sometimes lose those deals, but I just wouldn't. So I don't know. We need to talk about the title situation. The chat's getting ahead of me a little bit here, but I promise, guys, the unification thing is a conversation for sure. Before we get there, though. You talk about the RK Bro thing. Let's talk about what will lead into that. Main event of Raw. The Usos and Street Profits really tore it up in a really strong TV main event. What's your kind of read on this? SmackDown, they did a talking segment, right? As far as I saw. You said they did an actual tag team program, which is kind of refreshing. What do you think of the match, Usos Street Profits? They've seen it a lot. This was maybe their finest effort yet. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I was looking forward to, because they were supposed to do Usos and RK Bro that night, and I'm like, well, I was a little disappointed, but they made up for it with that match. It was excellent.
Indeed. Now, we have some bad news from WWE main event. Ready, Bob?
Yep.
Tommaso Ciampa defeated T-Bar. Old Tommy Teeth has been called up officially. What do you think, Bob, of Ciampa's chances here? He had a promo segment on Raw, did he not? What do you think? How is he going to get on here on the big show, the flagship?
Yeah, I don't know if once they clear up this Ezekiel stuff, if they're going to go into Ciampa and Owens. I think that could be a fun feud. Maybe he'll end up with Edge, but I would kind of rather him just do his own thing and feud with Owens for a while, go from there. Maybe be involved in the U.S. title picture, be involved in Money in the Bank, like be an upper mid card guy. I don't think he's ever going to be a main eventer up there, but he's a guy that does have a lot to offer.
In truly tragic news, Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz defeated the Hurt Business.
Sad.
That's tough. That is really. You know what? In fact, folks, this is our most serious, sincere show, but this feels necessary. Bobby, we're going to stay on screen for this, but I think the face in the middle will tell the tale. I forgot how long it was.
Yeah, it goes on for a while.
There's like multiple points where you feel like it's done, right? And it just
Mhm.
keeps on rolling. God bless. All right. Overall, okay, this is that conversation. So the tag titles are doing a unification of some sort, right?
I think so.
What is this like? Are we seeing the brand split come to an end, or are they moving to a one champion system where the champ just works both shows? If so, what does this mean for the women?
Yeah, that's really the interesting thing because, like, I thought there weren't going to be enough women to like do unification, but at the same time, there aren't enough women as it is now. So what you're doing, if you only have one title, is you're adding more. Um, you give Bianca that title and kind of let her run with it, be the ace. Like I think we all agree that she is at this
Yeah.
point, and it could arguably make it matter more. But all that's going to matter ultimately, if you do that, is what you do with your non-title feuds. That's what it just keeps coming back to.
Exactly. It's one of those things where it isn't a bad idea just because it's a bad idea because we have no faith in their ability to create non-title feuds, right? That's
Mhm.
the concern. I mean, clearly they could do it, and look, in an ideal world, you have one champion,
Yeah,
right? Like in an ideal world, they haven't operated in that world for a very, very long time. So it's hard to have faith in it while they're currently struggling to slot in top talent as it is with one title program to put together every month. That's an alarm bell situation to me from a fan's perspective.
yeah.
Um,
I
what's
think
your like? Go ahead.
Well, I think either you have to make the brand split actually matter, and there's
Uh,
various ways they can do that they've done in the past that we've talked about, or just get rid of it. But they kind of want to exist in the middle, and I don't know. For now, it's working, but like I don't know how long it's going to work for.
what is your gut feeling on what they're going to do in terms of the titles? What do we think's happening here?
It seems like they're going to unify all of them,
Yeah, it's going to be
but
really interesting.
I also kind of thought Roman was just gonna, give up the other one already and just be like, I care about, the Universal title. That's my title, and
Right.
they were gonna do whatever on Raw. Or they would introduce a new title by now because he's not really, it hasn't really been on Raw as much as I thought he would.
Yes, I completely get it. I just think it would be a dangerous move when we know the other things about how the company operates, but
Yeah,
we will see. All right. So overall, what did you think of Raw, Bobby? Before we move to NXT,
I thought it was very good. Again, I
good.
think I said every week it's a 3 hour show. Not everything's gonna hit with everyone, but overall, Raw is on the upswing.
It's their best show right now, according to the Oracle of Wrestling, and yeah, whether that means anything to you or not, I don't know, but
It
it's the
does.
thing he said. So there you go. Okay, this is good information here from the Fame Don't Have an App. So it should be said that he's defending the title separately on the house show loop.
Hmm.
Bob, as an expert analyst, you've been owned. But nonetheless, we'll proceed. NXT television. I watched this. The main event was awesome. I can't wait to talk about it. But first, Cameron Grimes versus Solo Sikoa. My guy Solo got a ways to go, right, Bob? This was okay, but he's a work in progress. Fair to say. What did you think of the match?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. He's getting there. He's only been on TV for 6 months or whatever. Like, I think he's going to be very good. He's got the lineage and all that. That helps. Just going to take a little bit longer, but it's fine. It was a fine match.
What was less than fine, unfortunately, and it is currently sitting a 3.37 on the old Fame Cage match. Mandy and Dakota Kai. I don't know if these women have ever met each other. They should have had a talk before they did this match. This was tough, Bob. And listen, I didn't even look. I want to do the Mandy Rose thing every week. God bless her. This was just not a very good match. What happened here?
Yeah, I don't know because I haven't even disliked her title reign and her matches as much as some people. But yeah, this one got me to reach out to someone in the DMs and be like, "Hey, this kind of sucks," which I don't usually do. But it was not good. Disappointing for Dakota. I hope losing means that she's going to come up soon. But we've been saying that for quite some time.
About 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was rough. Just didn't click.
Didn't at all. And look, everyone knows. I don't need to break any news here. Obviously, Dakota Kai is the better half of this match. She was the better half. She is, so on and so forth. But there was a clear the lack of the miscommunications were palpable. It was rough. But I thought the tag team gauntlet match was one of the best things they've done since they rebranded that I've seen anyway. In which the Creed brothers were kind of cemented as the top baby faces,
Yeah.
right? Um, This was a really well executed wrestling angle, and I use angle in the most complimentary way possible. It was a 30-minute match, but it was classic booking where you actually said, "Here's what we want to achieve," and then they achieved it. In the end, pretty deadly. Came out with the belts, but the story of the match was about the Creed brothers. We both love those two as a team. What did you think of the main event of NXT, Bob?
Yeah, that was awesome. Kind of stacking the odds against Creed brothers and then just them overcoming it more than once was really cool. And again, I mean, we're both very high on them. And, not really knowing who Pretty Deadly was prior to Tuesday night, I think they did a good job conveying that. Yeah. And, that's going to be a fun feud, I think. Those two teams are pretty fun.
So was this the thing people got mad about? I genuinely didn't see. Was this the thing that people got real mad about, Bobby?
No, it was the Natalia thing.
Ah, yes, of course. How could I forget? All right. Well, good. I love that. Great main event. Now you remind me of the real headline. Natalia is in NXT. Bob, what is are you going to do you even have a take? Is it possible to even have a take?
It's the same thing as when Ziggler was there. Well,
maybe there's a couple differences.
Yeah.
One of them's good. But other than that, you're right. It's the same. I'm just messing. It's fine, right?
Yeah, it's going to be fine. She's going to go put Cord Jade over. They have history, which I think is kind of cool. We'll see, I think, because the thing about Natalia on the main roster is, she clearly has a good wrestling mind, just, based on where she's from and all that stuff. You would think she kind of knows what she's doing, the psychology, and she can kind of show it a little bit here where she can't on the main roster, hopefully. I don't know. Everyone was really upset about it, and it's going to be fine.
I can't imagine being upset. I will ask, though, if I, as a task, made you star rate every one of Natalia's NXT 2.0 matches, what do you think the average would come out as?
Probably about 2.25.
Generous. All right.
Hey, the Charlotte match was NXT, and that was very good. I know it was 7 years ago, but 8 years ago,
I think. Yeah. Jesus, wept. Huh? Anyway, look at Wrestle Purist in the chat. Look at that piece of shit. He gets one like on Twitter and thinks he's anyway. Enough. NXT Level Up. Ready, Bob? Your favorite segment of each week's show. Roxanne Perez defeated Sloane Jacobs.
Yes, I want to go back and watch that still. I have not, but I heard that she was.
Oh yes, it's Roxy.
Yeah.
I thought you were doing a bit. I've heard good things. Damon Kemp defeated Troy Donovan. Tatum Paxley defeated Kiana James. Bobby, I've heard some lineups in my time. More or less star power than Battle of the Belts?
A little bit less.
A little bit? All right. WWF Smackdown is our next focus here. A program with a 4.48. Now, as Bobby said, he has not watched this one intently. He was doing the world-famous Late Night Grin. A Late Night Grin that, by the way, quickly entered the history books. The only Late Night Grin in history that got a member of the chat blocked and banned. Also resulted in Bob cutting a promo to secure his place as best on interviews for 2022. That was the aforementioned Do You on the Concrete, which again wasn't Bob's finest hour, but you get what you get. Nonetheless, one of the big stories of SmackDown wasn't actually on SmackDown. LA Knight, our guy, the man behind such catchphrases as dummy, yeah, and so on and so forth. He is now managing Mace, potentially. This was the dark match situation. He has a faction. I've forgotten the name of it. Bobby, what did you think of the clip that leaked of LA Knight? That's not an insult. That is just a fact of life.
I mean, he's very good on the mic, so It's not the worst usage of him. I get people kind of get upset when these guys are actual wrestlers that come up and be managers, but just to kind of ease him in, it's not a terrible idea. And they got to do something with Mace. He hasn't been on TV for however long, At some point, you got to see what you got and go from there.
It's interesting. It's I think it's a fine role for him. I would just love to know why he can't be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Because, with some guys, it's because they're small, right? It's LA Knight's got an incredible physique. He looks great. It's just, I don't know. Do you have any read on Mace's kind of potential or upside? I've not seen enough. I know he was in Retribution, but I refuse to watch any of that. What do you think?
Yeah, again, I really only remember him as commentator. I don't really remember too much of his Retribution stuff.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
That ill-fated team of him, Vic Joseph, and Jerry the King Lawler, that was quite the sight.
Got F5 through the table because he stood up for Jerry Lawler, which is kind of what you deserve. Yeah.
Folks, if you remember one thing from Bob and I's show, remember that, all right? Stand up for Jerry Lawler, get the shit kicked out of you. Anyway, this match was good. I actually seeked this one out the following day. Rhea Ripley and Naomi. It's, I have a take, Bob. Not really. It's not really a take. It's been really cool to see Rhea Ripley's confidence, climb.
Mm-hmm.
And when she first worked that Mania match with Asuka and she looked really uncomfortable, it was weird as a fan of hers because it was like, wow, she looks different. She feels like she's not fully present. She's kind of wrestling nerves as much as anything. Well, she may be the greatest example on the whole roster of someone who's benefited from their live event loop. Not because she's become a better wrestler, but because she's become a more confident wrestler. She now realizes these people actually are going to react to me, and I'm a player on this roster, whether they want me to be or not. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I think they're obviously, they think highly of her. It's just a matter of the usage times. It's frustrating. Here's yours with Naomi. I thought this was a really strong shot. Naomi's I think she always could have done more with her, but she as a performer has actually become much more complete in ring wrestler. So, what did you think of this match, Bob? I know you only saw bits and pieces of SmackDown, but did you see this? If so, what did you think of it?
Yeah, from what I saw, it was very good. Again, that's the thing about this tag thing is that any combination of the four you put in singles matches is going to be good. So that's why I think they might try and extend it a little bit past tonight. But yeah, it is cool to see, and Naomi actually being in something where the fans can get behind her like they've wanted to for the past 3 years now since really the 2020 Royal Rumble is when it started to get really big, and it's cool that they can finally do that too.
Indeed, Jinder Mahal failed to claim the Intercontinental title. Bobby, I know you were upset about this when you broke down in tears in the middle of the late night Grin. Have you recovered yet?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. It's just shouldn't happen.
Do you think he's voiced these frustrations to Vince McMahon yet?
I hope so.
Never know though. Bobby may be getting married soon. Anyway, main event, Riddle and Jimmy Uso. This tag title feud, main event match, this tag title feud is kind of leading the way on both shows. Any thoughts on this thing? Was there a main event segment? Was it Ronda and what was the main event segment? Or was it just this? Was this it, main event?
I think that might have been it, yeah, because Charlotte was, she did the Drew Gulak thing, and these guys opened the show with a promo, I believe. So yeah, I think this is just the main event. Any
thoughts on the match, Bobby?
I thought it was fine. I'm excited. Again, it's cool that it's an actual tag feud for once instead of the Usos are just Roman's guys.
Right.
Because that's kind of made their reign feel a little bit lesser.
For sure, I agree. I love Randy's promo too on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Really great promo. Randy's promo has definitely improved. Did you talk about? We'll get to coming up this week in a moment. 4-Door Soup. I promise we're going to get there very, very shortly. The dark match main event was Cody and Seth. Bobby, any thoughts on the Drew Gulak situation before we move on?
I want to see, I guess, if he's a full-time interviewer. I don't hate him in that role. That's probably not how I would have had him doing his first night in that role. I would have had him be an interviewer for a little bit first and then maybe done the Charlotte stuff, but we'll see. I mean, listen, he's obviously very good, but they clearly don't want a guy that can just go out and have good matches. I know he's got the personality and stuff too, but it's a chance for someone I like to get on TV, even if it's in a role that I don't care for. So that's nice, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think he's mostly used as a coach, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I got you 4-Door Soup. I was just playing. Okay. Do you know what these pieces of shit did on the weekend, Bob?
What's that?
They named their house shows again. These fucking crooks. I'm sitting here on the cage match and I see Saturday night's main event. Fist went through the roof. It was just a house show. They didn't even make a big deal of this. This is horse shit.
Yeah, again, they announced it and I was very excited. And then about 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, they're just going to call it that and not do anything.
Do you know who Charlotte Flair wrestled on Saturday night's main event?
Who?
Okay, this is good. Right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
So this was a really strong card, seriously. Finn and Theory, AJ and Priest, Usos versus Ridge Holland and Sheamus, as well as the New Day, Cody versus Seth, Ricochet versus Sammy, Bianca versus Becky and Rhea, Roman versus Drew. That's a hell of a card.
Yeah.
Who would you say they lined up for Charlotte Flair, the Queen, in the second match of the night for the SmackDown Women's title?
Natalia.
Aaliyah.
Ooh.
How many minutes? I'd love to know. I'd love to know what that match looked like structurally. They run the same card the following night as an event named WWE Sunday Stunner. Pieces of shit. Anyway, remember Smackville? Was that what it was called? Smackville?
Smackville, yeah.
Assholes. Anyway, before we look at this week's TV, Backlash has got 3 matches right now. The Queen Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Cody Rhodes versus Seth frickin' Rollins. RK Bro versus the Usos. Bobby, rank those 3 matches for me in terms of your personal interest.
I think that tag match, if they put like a stipulation, do a ladder match or a cage match, would probably be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't want to say that I don't think Seth and Cody are going to top their Mania match. So I guess that's a little bit lower. Yeah. And then I still have a little bit of hope that, with the gimmick, Charlotte and Ronda can be closer to the Survivor Series match that I really enjoyed. But it would probably be number 3 at the moment.
What do we think the finish is for Seth and Cody? Like, what do you do there? Does Cody just beat? You don't want to beat Cody immediately, right?
Yeah, Cody almost needs to win again. Like, maybe Seth also goes crazy like Becky has, and they roll with that for a little bit.
Is there any? I genuinely can't remember if they did anything on TV or this. Is there any potential like Kevin Owens involvement here?
Yeah, I don't know because he's doing the Ezekiel stuff at the moment.
Of course.
I don't know if that's going to last till Backlash or.
We can only hope, Bobby. We can only hope. Okay, Raw tonight, folks. Disclaimer: the last time we talked about Raw, it was changed within the time we finished recording and the time that Raw started. That was about an hour. So you get what you get. This audio could be dead within mere minutes, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Finn Balor, Austin Theory. Title change alert, Bobby?
I think so, which is kind of unfortunate, but if Finn teams up with AJ kind of for the next few weeks to kind of combat Edge and Priest, that would be okay. It's not the
Setting
worst
up for the Good Brothers.
I said that, and people got really mad.
Oh, I saw it. It was fucking hilarious. Genuine question, and this is like just me spitballing. At the end of this year, where does Finn Balor work?
I think he's still with WWE.
Okay.
He does seem to enjoy it. I mean, like, he's a guy that I think could jump at some point, but maybe not yet.
All right. Double commitment ceremony. Dana Brooke and Reggie, Akira Tozawa and Tamina. They're getting married here. Our Truth is involved. Bobby, your thoughts? You're a big fan of wrestling weddings, as we know.
I am. I don't know. I mean, this will be what it is. Like, I don't really care about any of these 4 people. I hope Truth gets his title back, but it'll be entertaining enough.
Is this not? Are we certain this isn't a rib?
I imagine it is, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sasha Banks and Naomi versus Rhea and Liv, you've kind of talked about in pretty good length, Bobby, so we'll leave that. This could be good TV, and I'm not doing a bit. Kevin Owens doing a lie detector with Ezekiel is almost certainly going to be funny.
Oh, yeah.
I do not see Kevin Owens making this anything less than hilarious. So, any thoughts on that program thus far?
It's been very entertaining. Kevin Owens is doing what he can to make it work, and it's dumb, but like it's dumb enough to work. Like I said last week, and the lie detector, like they did the Vince and Hogan lie detector in 2003 on SmackDown. Still one of my favorite segments, and I kind of hope this is along those lines tonight. And I think it's going to be.
Yeah, it's an iconic segment. Do you know the main 2 people on the NXT 2.0 banner on the website are Tommy Ciampa and Raquel Rodriguez? Pop. Owned. Okay, NXT, Santos Escobar and Carmelo Hayes. Should be good, Bobby, right? Should be good for NXT. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Carmelo's going to win, kind of get some momentum going again. And again, Legado del Fantasma should be up by now. So hopefully that's coming soon. Right. I think it was Raul Mendoza got a name change.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So hopefully they're all about to come up.
Yeah, indeed. Saraya is wrestling Tiffany Stratton. Is Tiffany Stratton any good whatsoever, Bob? I don't think I've seen her.
She is a little green, but I think she could be fine. Saraya should win this, but
ring an endorsement there, Bobby.
Again, you go into these sort of matches with your expectations a little bit lowered, and then if they surpass them, that's good.
Certainly. Tatum Paxley is wrestling Natalia. What do you think the quarter hour is going to look like for this one, Bob?
3 million.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine Brandon's graph just straight back down?
No, this is really the first test for Natalia, kind of like I talked about what that match with Cora is going to look like if she's able to kind of lay it out. Because you figure she's going to be pretty heavily involved in kind of mapping this one out, right? Like,
yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
We sure will. All right. And then SmackDown isn't out. They haven't even thought about what's on SmackDown, have they? Let's be honest. Of course they haven't. Okay. Any broad thoughts, predictions, ideas, so on and so forth, Bobby, for the week of WWE ahead?
No, kind of just another week to build to Backlash. I think they'll probably officially announce Roman and Shinsuke.
Right.
Maybe get a couple stipulations in the mix. Yeah, and again, just kind of because they got another full month until the pay-per-view, which is surprising. Yeah. It's not usually that long, I don't think. It's usually the end of April, so
that's why I'm not sure Sonya is the match. I don't know, but you got a month,
Yeah.
It kind of feels like you could do that match in 2 weeks and still have time for a program for the pay-per-view. I don't know. It's just give me a rough outline on what you expect Backlash to look like, Bob. So the 3 matches have been announced, Roman and Shinsuke. You've still got Bianca and Sonya, right? What else do you think kind of rounds it out?
Probably Owens, and I don't think you do the Ezekiel stuff till then. I really do think that they're going to do Owens and Ciampa, and Ciampa's going to win. Do that there. Maybe it seems like Ricochet wants to get the Intercontinental title back on pay-per-view, just based on him saying that in an interview last week.
Does that make it more or less likely it will happen?
Probably less, but also the law of averages, it hasn't been on pay-per-view in a year or whatever, so eventually they are probably going to put it on there. I don't know who he's going to face or whatever, but
the law of averages is fucking awesome. That's so great. What an incredible way to describe this situation. Okay, I now have something I need to confront you about, Bob. And I've left this for the end. I'm heading to one of our many group chats to pull up a quote. Because, Bobby, about literally 24 hours ago, almost exactly to the minute, you sent a message that said other things, but I'll just read this particular moment. Well, the NBA is dead to me, is what you said, Bobby.
Yeah.
Now, famously, on another channel far, far away, you made a bet of sorts for me. A bet that was quickly rendered completely fucking useless, but a bet nonetheless about the Chicago Bulls. Your confidence has dwindled. You have tweeted less and less tweets about the excitement for the Chicago Bulls. As they continue this series, they are 1-0 down to the Milwaukee Bucks. Bobby, where are you at? I would like to give you the floor here to address this.
Well, I mean, first of all, it was hard to imagine them winning this series because I don't think they've beat Giannis 4 times in his career. So to do it 4 times in 2 weeks is going to be a little tough. They were better than I thought they were yesterday, but it's a game that they really needed to win with all of their good players shooting 20%. They hung in there, but it's hard to imagine kind of a group of Billy Donovan, DeMar DeRozan really ever having a ton of success in the playoffs. Because, again, I didn't really understand what people were talking about with DeRozan, and then yesterday came along, and I finally kind of get it in terms of a playoff performer because, he'll shoot the mid-range, and it doesn't work in the playoffs like it does in the regular season because they're going to guard it tighter. And then, you're not making threes, and it snowballs, it becomes a whole thing. And, on one hand, I'm glad they're playing Milwaukee because they'll just get it over with quickly. I wasn't even going to watch yesterday, and then I did, and then they went down 10-0. Then I turned it off for a while, and then I went back when they were up by 5 going into the 4th, and just, didn't have it. And that's kind of how it's going to go. A lot of the other series look interesting, so I shouldn't say the entire NBA is dead to me, but
I'm freezing, Bobby. I'm sorry. Finals prediction before we wrap up here.
I think it's gonna be Bucks Suns again.
Yeah, me too.
With the flipped result from last year.
There you go, folks. You heard it from the man himself, Bobby O'Neill. This has been Fed Dead Redemption. My internet is dropping out rapidly, so hopefully we get here before this show dies. Everywhere there is some sort of technical difficulty, it changes whose half it's on every single time, which is there's a message in there. Bob and I don't take from it. We just continue on. Hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the WWE coming up. Hopefully, Bobby has given you some insight on the world of Fed. We did a little bit of Fiend-esque talk at the start, so on and so forth. Okay, tomorrow, I don't know what's going on. I just know for a fact we're doing a Dark Grin along. Wednesday, Dynamite preview, Dynamite review. Thursday, the 28th, the Grin Grappler is back. This month's wrestler is Dustin Rhodes. You guys voted for him. His 6 matches are now out. You can find those at Late Night Grin. A pretty strong lineup, right, Bobby? And that'll be myself, Bobby, Alex, and Oracle again with video messages, I'm sure, from our many wonderful guests. Please go and wish the Confirmed Shoot a happy birthday. Bob, would you like to do that here on the air? I did it earlier. Would you like to do that here?
Yeah, happy birthday to our good pal Confirmed Shoot. Hope he's having a great day. I'm sure he's watching this right now.
Big Fed guy. Big Fed fan. Old Matty Bullets, God bless him. All right, folks, it's been an absolute pleasure. We will see you tomorrow for some kind of content. Keep your eye out on the Wrestle Purist account too, because I'll be popping up there at some point this week also. But in the meantime, enjoy this outro. Speak soon, folks.